It's nice to be here today, and I hasn't been in Prague before, but I already came or flew in on Saturday, so I had a couple of days to walk around, and it is really a lovely city. As I was introduced, I'm talking about leading new business development with real-time customer dialogue, and what I mean by that is that how do we actually get new ideas, or let's say customer-centric ideas, in order to create new business and new business ideas. A bit of my background: I'm a managing director in user intelligence in Finland, and before my current position, I worked in Accenture as a management consultant for IT strategies and such. And I've been now doing this work for past 6 years, and our customers are telecom operators, food chains, and banks and big companies like that. And I did my MBA way back about the topic of innovation process and how do you actually put design thinking into innovation processes. So kind of the same topic that I'm using the time today as well. Okay. If Bob was talking about user experience, I think that my point is more on the customer experience. And as we all understand, customer experience is kind of a bigger part than the UX, at least to me. What we do in user intelligence, we are kind of a combination of 3 skills or 3 companies. Partly, we are a user research company. Then again, we are a design studio. We do service design and application design, user interface design. And then we are an online consultancy, so we talk more for the management and with the C-level, what should be done, what are the roadmaps, and so on. And probably the points that I'm having today are more towards the management or how to create a companies and cultures that improve the customer experiences as a whole. Let's keep that one. Yes, it's Helsinki up there. And we also have offices in Amsterdam and Rotterdam. And we are a small team. In Finland, we have about 14 people and totally about 40 people. So we are not a conglomerate as maybe Bob's company is a bit bigger. But we focus on customer experience, and that's how we have, that's where our expertise is. And yes, we also belong to UX Alliance, that we do international user research in various countries. Okay, let's go for a customer journey. How familiar you are with the customer journeys? Can I see hands? How many have you done customer journeys? Okay, couple. So it's to put it quite simple, there are 2 axes. There's a timeline, right? And there's a satisfaction curve. And typically, the customer journey begins with a need. So it doesn't begin from your website, but it begins when consumer understands, says, "Oh my God, now I need that toilet paper," or "I need any toilet paper," and then eventually the journey begins, and so on. And this is of course happening with any product or service there is. All right, let's have a hypothesis. You are running a company. And everybody knows telco sector, so let's say that you are a telecom company. And yes, you have product to sell, and you have customers. Those are great. It's good to have customers. And you want to understand why they buy currently in order to sell more, right? And this should be a piece of cake. Maybe at this time it's good to ask, I'd like to know you a bit better. So how many of you are experts in this field? I mean like expert level in the company? Some? Okay. How about then on the management level? Yeah. And then maybe on the C level as well? Yeah, maybe 1 or 2. Good. All right. So back to the hypothesis. Basically, what happens when we start analyzing the customer journeys, for example, with companies like this, is that we need to understand what happens before and during the actual usage or buying of the service. and then what happens after. And hopefully it looks like a bit like this. So the after, there is really a reward, and the user or consumer feels really, really happy, and they have made it, they have really nailed it, like in the case of Echo from Amazon. But typically, it looks a bit more like this. So there's a realization in the companies that, okay, this was more than a rehearsal on my website. And typically, it can start from word of mouth, social media. Users or people go to different review sites to check out the specifications and reviews of new products. Then they might call in for the customer service. And as you can see, there's a dip. Probably the customer service hasn't even yet heard about the new product that is on the campaigns, or they don't have enough knowledge to explain what the product really is. Then we get to the better part, website, product pages. They are really well made, and the user interface is really cool, and it really works. And then that hits the spot, and there's a sale has been made. After that, there's the delivery part. That's probably can take some time, and maybe they will ship it eventually. And then in the installation is really pain in the neck, and you need to call into the customer service again and ask help to get it installed. So why cannot we just measure this whole chain and get numbers or scores or whatever they are and fix it, and fix what needs to be fixed? The first kind of thing is that before we can start measuring how things are, we need to understand who is actually in control. So who is controlling which of these touch points? Okay, let's dive deeper to that. So who controls word of mouth? Nobody really. Who controls your social media or company's social media? Probably it's a social media agency. In the worst case, it might be your summer trainee that you have hired to push up your social media activities. Review sites, they are typically run by external companies, not by you, so you cannot have control over them. Then on the customer service, there we have a responsible person. That's a vice president of services, right? Then on product page is typically vice president responsible for all the digital channels or digital sales. And then logistics, yes, there we have a third vice president. Now we have some responsible people on board. And manufacturer probably has done the product or the installation part of the product already, so you cannot have, actually you don't have too much to say about what happens there. And when we create these customer journey maps, it's always, everybody wants to make dashboards out of those, because we want to see numbers, how these people actually behave, and what could we do with the different vice presidents. Then we get to the dilemma. We start to discuss that how these people are actually incentivized at the moment. So how do we measure how well does the VP of digital or VP of customer service, how they are measured? All right, let's see. What are the critical KPIs for that? Basically, social media, that's quite typical. Number of followers for your company or brand or product, or mentions. Then for the review site, maybe that's of course the external service, but number of stars, number of reviews, so on. And then customer service, that's typically number of incident calls inbound calls, so people calling in and having some trouble. Then on the website, there might be average order value or sold products or something like that. Maybe visitors. Hopefully that's not the only measure these days. And then on the delivery part, there are speed of delivery, maybe returns, stuff like that. So quite different KPIs actually now that we look at it from the point of customer, not from our internal silos. And this is of course quite explanatory image to start seeing what are the different company silos and how do they actually affect the holistic customer experience these days. And they are quite eye-opening discussions that we are having with companies that are first seeing the whole customer experience, then understanding that actually our KPIs and management models do not support the total customer experience at all. So we should actually start the discussion with the management, middle management, all the incentive programs, all the KPIs, before even trying to create a better customer experiences. And that's pretty heavy discussion, and it doesn't happen in 24 hours, unfortunately. Meanwhile, the customer is back at home and trying to put that set-top box to his television and to get the digital HD or Netflix running up. And what has happened, as we have done loads of contextual research in people's homes, is, for example, case like here, the telco didn't have the cable because it costs like 5 cents, so it was too much to put it to the box. And probably they thought that everybody has the cables these days. And then, as you can see from here, actually the cable, another cable was too short to have it in your home. So typical things that makes customers furious, even the website is super great. And typically when you go through user research and product research like this, you can anticipate problems beforehand, before the new products are put to the market. And that's a crucial place to actually maybe dry rehearse the out-of-the-box experiences and taking the products into use before putting them to sale. All right. So with all the touch points and loads of roller coaster with the touch points and both digital and physical. So should we have a touch point strategy? That's always a good business term to have. Let's create a strategy, and that solves everything. Peter Drucker is an old business guru, and he has a better solution, and that's a culture that eats strategy for breakfast. And that's the idea is, of course, that the strategies themselves are nothing, but you need to get people to actually work on these things and have it in a company culture. And if we take the company silos, as I have now kind of simplified the previous picture and put the design, product, people, marketing, and business there in silos, and instead of just saying that let's have a nice dashboards and be a data-driven company, it needs to have much more. So we need to start with shared goals, shared KPIs, shared understanding where our business will be in coming years. And data-driven is loads of hype word, but you need to start it somewhere. And once you start it with kind of the right foot or the shared goals, then it's easier to take new stuff on board. And then we get to parts like accessible tools that everybody can use and everybody can make decisions based on those tools. That helps bringing in data-driven culture so that you actually base your decision on numbers and not just feelings of product managers or product owners. Then, of course, you need to have the management to foster the self-direction. I mean, self-direction doesn't mean that write more scripts to your customer service help desk so that they can read out loud from the paper. Self-direction means that people in the front lines are able to take actions based on the data they see and the feelings that the customers have. It has been searched that if you have a scripted customer service calls, the general feeling of end customer at the end of the line is way worse than people that actually, or that with customer service representatives that actually can take action and actually listen what is your problem. And when you can kind of empower the front lines, you get less stuff up in the value chain as well. So then the management can actually concentrate their time better on the things that matter than just solving stuff that is coming up of the value chain. So at the end, you will have an organization that supports this kind of a lean and data-driven development, and that helps a lot to kind of understand what is needed for the customers. For example, Nokia Siemens Networks, NSN, they used to have a customer satisfaction survey once a year. It had around 150 questions, and they had it every year, and everybody was really awaiting the results. The problem with that was that it's looking backwards for 1 year. They turn it upside down, and basically now what they have once a month call with the customers that, and in that call they will ask what was good last month, what should we do better, and what do you expect next month to happen. And by that, there are open questions, and they are not like a scripted things. They are more human discussions, and with those discussions, they have been able to kind of understand and exceed the expectations from customers instead of just ticking the box that yes, we have done the customer journey, customer survey. So 3 things that I think that are something that needs to happen, or if you do these three things by 2020, you are probably leading in your business area. So first, what is needed is to build systems that foster these self-directions, so that frontline people are able to actually solve problems right away, so they don't take up any more time. And that way, when you empower people, you enable this new kind of culture to grow, and a new way of working for people as well. They feel more motivated, they're able to solve problems, and they probably stay longer also in your company. Another thing that culture and this kind of empowering helps is to start creating in terms of platforms. So how about if you would take kind of a control of the whole user journey or customer journey within this case? So instead of all of these different blocks belonging to somebody else or probably external companies, you would kind of grab the whole customer and customer journey, and you would create value for both delivery company, both social media or review websites, and to the customer as well. And this is, of course, the idea of platforms like Airbnb or Uber are doing at the moment. So you should shift from the controlling your internal resources into orchestrating the external resources. What I mean by that is that if you just control your own people and say that actually the delivery part, that's not our company's job, so you cannot blame us for that. Or the installation is done by the manufacturer, so don't call us if it's buggy. But you should take kind of the higher stand and understand that how you, as a company that communicates with the customer, can actually start orchestrate the whole resources, even they are not by you, even you don't own them. There's, of course, lots of examples about this. One nice example is an insurance company called If. I don't know, has anybody heard about that? Maybe not. It's a Nordic insurance company, and as you can say, it's easy to explain. It's in Norway, actually. But what they have done as an insurance company, they have created a platform that people can rent cars or boats from their neighbors. And of course, the problem has been with in this lending business that if you lend your car to your neighbor, your insurance is not valid anymore, and you're basically screwed if somebody happens to the car. So instead of being in a market for car insurances, If actually took a different stand and created a platform where they will provide the insurances for all the cars and boats and probably summer cabins that are rented through this system. They will sell automatically the insurance, and people are happily to cooperate and rent cars through this service. So instead of being in the highly competitive market of car insurance products, they have created a platform that there is no competition at all, because they own the platform, right? So it's totally different mindset of just trying to create a new advertising campaign. What should we come up with a new car insurance. That's not typically a hot product for you people anyway. And this is kind of the mentality to control the resources instead of trying to control what do you actually own within your company, or what is kind of thought to be a core competence of an insurance company. And lastly, the third point I wanted to make today was this platform or ecosystem, if you would like to call it that way. You should connect that to other platforms, other ecosystems. Because by yourself, you are still really tiny, even no matter how cloud-powered you would be. And of course, the platforms and ecosystems, they are really big. I just had a couple of examples how these kind of platforms could be utilized in order to create a dialogue and have a more live dialogue than just maybe like the platform that was here. This is not necessarily a live conversation. What I mean by live platforms, I mean, for example, social networks or messaging applications. And as we have seen the rapid rise of social networks, we have also seen in the past year or two the messaging applications that are really driving ahead these days. I'm sure everybody's using Facebook Messenger. Is there somebody who is not using Facebook Messenger? Okay, couple. Yeah. Let's see. And how about you working in a companies? Do you offer customer service in WhatsApp, for example? Does somebody do that? Okay. How about then Snapchat? Even more exotic. Actually, that's Squarespace. It's a typo. It should be Swarm these days. It used to be Foursquare. How about Facebook Messenger? Somebody giving a customer service directly on the Facebook Messenger? Maybe some. Half hand is risen. So what has happened in the Nordics and in Finland, there are more and more companies offering direct customer service through WhatsApp. There are, of course, it's not 24/7, but there's, for example, employment offices or employment companies who are seeking employees can answer directly through WhatsApp. There are news services like Sanoma company. They have a news service that sends news to your WhatsApp, so you don't have to go to read the actual magazine, and so on. And also Expert Chain, that is this kind of a, how would you say, they sell consumer electronics. They have a WhatsApp channel that you can actually ask questions if something doesn't work. And this is really interesting phenomena in a way that there are also new entrants than just Facebook and WhatsApp. For two cases, one example is called Hero, and it is a startup that aims to be the middleman between company and a people. So basically, it makes messaging businesses as easy as messaging your friends. And you can basically target any company, and they will make sure that the company will get the message, and so on. Another company is called Gizlo, and their vision is to be the global standard for giving feedback. So any company, basically if you go to a restaurant, the application knows that, yes, you are in this restaurant. It also works in a browser, so you don't have to download anything. And if you say something there, it's taken to the restaurant, for example, and they can reply back to you. And there are these kind of middlemen players now coming up to enhance and enable the real-time feedback, real-time discussion with the companies. And yes, then there's the Facebook. And let's take a bit closer look at that. There's actually, and they are up and coming, better ways to connect with your customers. So, for example, when you are in a checkout page or when you are about to buy something, there can be a checkbox. Would you like to continue discussion within Facebook Messenger, or would you like to have the customer service in Messenger when you are trying to do installation or if you have some questions? So there's a direct connection to the customer instead of sending SMS or instead of sending email, just saying that this is your order confirmation. That sounds quite ordinary these days. And of course, you can have the same in mobile. And here's, it says get real-time shipping updates on your phone. And yes, why not? I'll just check the box, and then the company has me hooked with my Facebook profile. Then later on, we can start the dialogue with the user or consumer in the messenger. So we can send the same order confirmation within the messenger, and we can also send a USB package route directly to the messenger. And here's examples of how do these platforms actually integrate. So the UPS is mapping and tracking code platform is actually integrated within the messenger. So you don't have to go to the UPS website, and you don't need to copy paste the code from your order confirmation email to see where your package is going. You can see it directly in your Facebook Messenger. And that's some sort of value that we begin to see when we actually integrate different platforms and open this dialogue with the consumer. And of course, there's lots of technical things in the behind, but it helps the people to get the value they're actually searching for. Another case, or maybe continuum to the previous, when you receive the package, if there's something wrong, you can just continue the discussion in Messenger. Can I change the product? It doesn't start, it's a wrong color, whatever. But then the customer representatives, they can see that, okay, this was the previous discussion history. And this is what he ordered. Yes, clearly it is wrong product. So you don't need to start this bouncing emails back and forth to the customer service in order to get your voice heard. And third, or kind of another example of integrations, you don't need to have an Uber application anymore. I noticed that Uber is here as well. I don't know how popular it is, but just an example, when there is address mentioned in Facebook Messenger, there is, at least in some countries, already a platform integration with Uber so that you can just call a Uber taxi right away from that address. You don't have to download Uber application or anything like that. And these are the integration we will see in future, and we will need to have in future in order to be in the game. And to make sure that whatever is our company's core competence or mission, that we fluidly integrate with, for example, Messenger, if that will be the prevailing or the winner of these Messenger platforms. So, could the Messenger work as a business platform? Let's see some example benefits that I just talked about to summarize things. Well, basically, customers, you already know them if they have checked the box and kind of gave the permission to become your friend or a friend of your company. So they don't have to enter any details. You know who they are. And you don't need to create any applications. That's quite nice. No application development, no design needed. Sorry for design companies. Less work for them, but you don't need to start thinking of your own company's mobile app. In China, where there's a similar platform called WeChat that is hugely popular, there's already like over $1 million valuation startups that only work within the WeChat. They don't have websites, they don't have applications. There is just a WeChat connection and the service they provide through that. And we will provide also you the link to the nice presentation made by Alibaba, and you will get it later on, that explains this, how they are doing this whole platform thinking. And yeah, we remember to send you the link as well. Yeah, it looks a bit like this, but the texts are so small, so you can see it later. Great. So for the end user, they don't have to download your app. You don't have to advertise that. You don't need to update the app at all. They are less cumbersome user interfaces. You basically, what you do, you send them, for example, the map of UPS. Here is your package. People don't need to navigate anywhere. So less cumbersome user interfaces. And the whole thing is based on the process and a dialogue, a human dialogue, instead of application. And at the moment, there is a growing market of automated bots that will handle part of the discussion with the users within the, for example, Messenger platform. So it's not only like you need to have more service persons to do more stuff there. And of course, the full communication history is always there. So these are kind of example benefits that we could see with the real-time communication and real-time platforms taking in place in future of customer experience, and how do we make people's lives easier. Simple example would be like you have some problem, you can just ask it right away from the customer representative over the Messenger platform, and they could send you links or links to videos. Here's the installation video, whatever you need. So instead of taking out the handbook or instead of going online, basically the most thing people have is their mobile phone and the Messenger. So why not have it there and brought awesome service to the people. Another case, I use this, I'm also a customer of them, so it's good to promote them for a while. It's a Consus, it's a Norwegian, I don't know, there are lots of Norwegian cases at this presentation, but a Norwegian company that is actually like freelancer.com, but it's simpler and it's only on Facebook. So what you do, you basically search Consus on Facebook Messenger and start chatting with them. They have 1 hourly price, 29 euros. They do basically PowerPoints, website coding, whatever you need to be done. I started chatting with them. I had a PSD design file that I need to do for a website that is up and coming. So I just needed the one simple one-pager. So I asked like, hello, I wasn't their customer. So I just started chatting, sent them the files, and they said, okay, we'll come back to you in 48 hours, and it takes a couple of hours to code. I didn't have to register anywhere. I didn't have to tell my VAT code. I just told my address, and they could verify that, yes, you seem to be a Facebook user. So really super smooth experience of buying freelance services and not kind of caring, do I make a bid, do I need to make a bid, or do I need to register even somewhere? And this is, I think, the future of most of different expert services that we can get online. And they also have a plugin that you can basically have these people as an assistance, for example, in your Slack platform, if you are using Slack. So again, a connection of different platforms. All right. Long talk and deep silence. Hopefully you have sent some tough questions to this platform that you're using. So what we would like to do is to get from this blind customer journey into a meaningful and data-driven dialogue that actually gives you opportunities to discuss with the customers in real time and get ideas what they actually need in order to be more happy and more involved within your company and so on. That's all great, Janne, but what? I don't have time to create cultures. It should be right now. So what there is to do? This is the last slide that I would like to present to you as kind of the where to start. So instead of starting to build huge systems or processes or cultures, let's start really small. Whenever you have something or whenever you have your next product that you are starting to think, what should the product be? Start with the experience. So what should the experience be for the customer or the user? In a case like the car rental example, it might be that they only have the website. They don't really have the insurance products ready. They don't really have the processes ready. They just throw it out there and see that does it evoke interest within people. So prototype the offering, create a simple one-pager, and just throw it online, put some advertising out there, and create goodwill that, oh, we are a forward-thinking company, we have new concepts out there. And of course, at that stage, you don't know how successful it will be, but you are already out there instead of just thinking, what system should we have to support this? When you get the validation that people are really, really interested about that, you get to the decision point one, when you actually can invest into creating internal process. How should our people actually work with this? And could we do it manually before we have systems and so on? And create kind of the business hypothesis, is this really a good point or not? And if you survive the decision point two, then you can start acquiring or building your system that automates the processes that you have done manually so far. And then you should also be able to have an investment plan because you have seen the consumer traction and you have seen that you can do it manually. And by this way, it's a lot easier to actually bring out new products than maybe the old way was. And I think that was all I had to say today. You were awfully quiet, so it was of course good for me. But let's open a discussion. Thank you, everybody.